We are just hopping over from Forbidden Knowledge, so I thought I'll come over. I didn't have anything really planned from there to here, like a part two or something, but I thought I'll come over just to keep the consistency up and really talk about, in this live a little bit about symbolism and do we want to learn it? Should we learn it? Kind of get a filler out from you guys to kind of see should we go down that route in what you were going to learn from it. And so I think it's something that a lot of people will probably we can talk about a little bit. Uh, so I want to get into the point of symbols and the importance of where it should be for the future of your knowledge, what you should be learning, and why you should learn symbolism. I think it's one of the things that a lot of people don't pay a close attention to in the overall terms. I understand we may see the Baphomet or we may see something like that and we get the understanding of the Baphomet or just whatever, right? But symbolism is really deep. And there's a passage in this book or whatever that J.C. Cooper, he's an illustrated encyclopedia of traditional symbols. And it's something that he points out at the beginning of this book that I think everyone should know. And I'm going to try to read this verbatim without screwing up the world, y'all know, as we're doing. And it is something that I want my community to really begin to accept because we have to integrate this in our future knowledge. And he talks about how symbolism is the part, and let me go here. The study of symbolism is not mere erudition. It concerns man's knowledge of himself. Symbolism is an instrument of knowledge and the most ancient and fundamental method of expression, one which reveals aspects of reality which escapes other modes of expression. And what he is tend to mean by that is that this is where a lot of people go wrong when they're awakened, that they don't do the process of symbolism. I didn't say we know what the swastika, if I pronounced it right, or whatever that means. We're talking all of this stuff because it was there before words. So that you understand that symbols does not merely equate, it mostly reveals something essential part of the subject to be understood. And it contains the vast, ever-expanding realm of possibilities and makes possible the perception of fundamental relationships between seemingly diverse forms of appearances. And strictly speaking, before I get out of this part, symbols differ from emblems, okay? The allegory in that it expresses and crystallizes some aspect of direct experience of life and truth, thus lead to beyond itself. There's a lot more where he goes on to say, and I'm going to read this last part because this is probably the most profound part that I want you to get. And this is why we have our sigils. This is where I have the luminous symbol for a reason. And people say, well, Roderick, it's an owl. The secret societies or such and such use the owl. And the knowledge of this is that a symbol need not arise from any one source, but can adapt, okay, or respond to different ages, religious, cults, and civilizations. Exclusiveness is primitive and immature characteristics, and that the symbol is inclusive and expansive, and there may be many diverse applications of the same symbol, which can become ambivalent or polyvalent in accordance with its. In other words, saying that symbols can turn into a devastating thing, which is bad, or symbols can turn into a good thing. It is just depends on the beholder of the user. And so that is something I think that you should understand. Now, reason I've said that here tonight, because over the last 6 months, I started studying symbolism or not 6 months, the last year. And then over the last 6 months, I started buying every book I can think of or see on eBay or whatever. And I got stacks of them in there on the shelf. and it's all about symbols. I even took the time to file a trademark because I want to teach it and become and learn it, the symbolizer, like Denzel Washington Equalizer. So that is my trademark. It is now registered, the symbolizer, Roderick Martin. And when I started studying this extraterrestrials and aliens and all of this, it became apparent that symbols was the key. Remember, on all these spacecrafts, they started finding symbols that we didn't know what it meant because we couldn't understand it. It wasn't language, it was symbols. And every alien that comes to here have some type of symbol on their clothing, some representation that has all of these meanings. And of course, today, we begin the process of wanting what I call a business logo. But when you start thinking about stuff like Pepsi and all these companies, the symbols and sigils that Starbucks and all these people use, that they're drawing ancient mythological powers from, that I really think it's time for you to begin to redevelop your business logos into symbolic symbols and draw the power of that, the subconscious power that gives when people see that symbol of your company, and then they begin to want to do business with you because subconsciously it speaks to them through their ancestors or wherever you deem to power this thing up. But the challenge that I had was, how do you teach somebody the simple symbol of, for example, in this book, if we just went to the basics and said, okay, let's just begin. And if we begin with the basic symbol, we're going to begin with this stuff like circles and dots and arrows and lines and curves. And every day this goes unnoticed and people are not going to think about, but the circle is the next to the logical, magical symbol is the circle. It effectively is an expansion of the dot, and the circle represents spirit and the cosmos. How many people know that? Every time they see a circle, how would they know that? How many of these big corporations use the circle to lure you into their products? And further, the circle itself is constructed from something, all right? And that's a word, the unbroken line. The circle is constructed of something, the unbroken line. And the unbroken line, the line has meanings too. But everything that we see in our lives, from the windows, the squares on the roof, the walls, is made of some symbol of structure. And then it is incorporated in our everyday lives and it goes unnoticed. But if you ever look at witchcraft and they decide to put a spell, they'll put a circle around you and it traps what's in. And as well as I have a circle around our protection symbol, it blocks what's out. But these are things that I knew and learned and I implement on a daily basis. When you start thinking about the ark, look at the ark itself. Even though it's a symbol, but it also, the ancient man have most important, the circles, but obviously, we go back to the circle, I'm sorry, and I left this out. Where ancient man have seen the most important circles is the sun and the moon. And because of the passage of time, it's marked by the journey of the sun, the moon, and the stars or whatever, but it's all around the earth, the wheel, which is the circle itself. If you go with the dot, which I have on this protection symbol, which is right in the center, there's a dot sitting up here. And a dot may be the most unassumable thing, little thing that anybody knows. It's the first mark of the pristine sheet of paper. The first mark anywhere is a dot. When the pen comes down, the first symbol it makes is a dot. But in this case, a lot of people don't understand the dot is the essential component in the structure of the sentence, right? It closed, but here's the deal. It's also called the Bindu, which means the drop. This in Bindu is the symbol of absolute, mark of the forehead, and the possession of the third eye. The dot is where the third eye. This is why when we talk about the question mark, and it comes all the way down, the path of the journey of your answers, and then the dot is our ancestors telling us that the symbol, the answers is within you, but it's there. You got to seek within. And we don't understand when we see these things because it's not something we're taught, because all we saw was a simple dot, or we saw a vertical line and everything else. And then it gets a little more complex. It becomes everything else. So now I'm able to look at shapes and symbols that somebody put together, and I can tell you if it's menacing, if they have a meaning. Some of you can walk into a location, you have no clue. You have no clue that it is happening right before your eyes and everything else. And again, symbolism is the most things that and I've been drawing as our YouTube channel how much symbolism. So it may be a whole nother channel, because when we get out there, we got, because the apple, the rhino, all of these stuff has hidden meanings, and we just know about the serpent, or we may know about the staff, or the cross, or the Celtic, whatever. But when you start looking at Masonic stuff, they start putting all these symbols in place and putting all these things together. Then it is worth for you to kind of know what it is and what it is. So books like this is a beautiful book. It's a source book, and this thing is thick. And they'll talk about plants. They'll talk about anything, the moon, the Buddha, just anything you can understand that people have. And I think, again, it's something that people need to understand. This is a book that somebody, I already have the bigger version, but somebody brought this out this past weekend, and they was trying to understand different symbols and stuff. And it is huge. It's a great book. It's all of this stuff, but there are so many books, but they all have different way that they go. And one of the best ones is this beautiful one here that I started going out to all these church groups and looking at how the things are right in plain sight. Fire symbols and water, the snow, the rain, floods, all of this stuff is symbolism, mammals, and the list goes on and on and on. And so you have to really think about it. Kyra said Luminous just showed up in my chat search. Well, it's going to be big. We're already there. The symbolism of the bee, the mantis, the lotus, all of these different things, the moth. Even though they know what they are, but it has the meaning, the symbolism as when you talk about the moth, just a simple moth, right? And the moth is, even though it's unusual, nocturnal moths are associated with darkness. In Bosnia, it's believed that witches may take the form of a moth, and they habit and hover around the flame and attracts ambivalent symbolism. And as they're saying that the symbolism of that is as the soul seeking God, and also as insanity rushing headlong towards doom. So you have to begin to know that this is more powerful than anything you can learn out there. It's symbolism. And I plan to do symbolism symposiums. I've already been on the phone with people, something I've dreamt of since last year when I started down this journey. And I just haven't figured out a way to make a flower, or just like I said, this moth. And I did a couple of videos for y'all on the triple moon symbol. And I put the symbol of the triple moon there to teach people about it. And it didn't get a lot of views because it was a symbol and nobody recognized it. So they didn't click on it to watch it and then get the meaning of the past, the present, and the future from the triple moon, or the age of wisdom, youth, and whatever. But the triple goddess is sitting in front of everybody every day in different places, and they have no bearings. And just because it looks a little different, long as they can make the symbols, the meanings is not going to change. It's going to be the same thing that they do. From different stones, when we're talking about crystals, we're talking about the different crystals. They all are symbolism or meaning that people can see. Ada, which book are you talking about? Let me know. This book is called Signs and Symbols. This is a real nice book with gold foil edges. It's got a lot of stuff in it. This book here is one of the best I would tell you can find. And you don't go to this thing is huge, heavy, probably about 30 pounds, but you can get them on eBay right now for $10 and $20 and everything else. And so I would tell you to definitely do that, when you get an opportunity of everything else. When I started putting together the symbolism of our thing, of the sigil or protection, I went into start going through my books and everything else. And so let me give you a meaning stuff that could just pass by people every day that people really don't know, and I think it's important. And like I said, I'm just going through this so that you will get an understanding to where we could possibly go and everything else. You said the other book, so this one is. I'll go through them all in just a second. Then, okay. Um, I'm looking for just something right off the bat that would just stand out, so you kind of know the greatness of what we're talking about here. But it's in most of the simplest form for you to see when we get down, and you'll get where I'm going with this real quickly. All right, so let me turn to. All right. Let me turn to something that is just going to stick out. It's simple, but it has so much deep meaning that it will take you on a journey just because we're talking about it and everything else. And like I said, the complex part for me is to try to figure out how do I bring this information to you all, where we sit there with a little picture or something and somebody like, what the heck is that? Because they don't know what it means. They don't want to do that. And pretty much. And so the symbolism of that. All right. So I got one here. I'm just trying to find the page that it's on. I wrote it down somewhere. You have the evil eye. We can talk about that a little bit, and it comes in different forms. We could talk about just the milk. Milk is a symbolism. That is just, people look at it every day and don't really, but when you start looking at how they start putting together a lot of other books, not books, and they start combining these different symbols, that's where it gets lethal. When they start incorporating different symbols together to make an image, and that image has an incredible meaning to it that most people don't have a clue, and you run across something and you find out that it told you better stay away. They're getting ready to slice you up when you walk down this part of the street, because they put the symbols out there, and your mind don't understand that part and see that part, because we're not paying attention. We just want the word run or whatever. But these are elites and secret societies. They know symbolism. They train on it. They teach on it. Their cults teach on it to teach them the things that people just not really paying close attention to. So anyway, I guess I'm gonna put this one down. I was trying to find some notes that I had. I thought I had them already noted in here from some stuff that I was already studying that I would pass along to you to pretty much. But again, yeah, Dr. Strange, it's the secret language. So for example, I'll just go through this one. We talk about the fish. Even though I have two fish here, and fish, most people see it and they think I'm talking about the Pisces. Let me give you some hidden stuff of fish as well. And think about what you're about to hear. Invitingly, fish is the most prominent symbol of the element of water. Okay. And from the here on, the symbolic meaning of fish cascades into all sorts of areas. Now, read and hear or listen to what I'm about to say next. The fish lives in the depths that are synonymous with the underworld, and it accesses the secret places that are forbidden to humankind. Water is closely linked to the womb and the ideal of birth and rebirth, and so that fish takes on the meaning too, and because they're quite literally have access to the hidden depths, the fish is party to the secret and to sacred information. This is why I have the fish to the two fish sitting on our protection symbol. And let me put it on the screen up here in the corner. Let me change it around and let you know. So a lot of stuff I put in plain sight that some of you don't notice. So there it is over here. And there's two fish on the side. And it's disguised because they'll say, what's your sign? I'm a Pisces. But that's not what I'm saying with our hidden symbol. I'm saying that we access hidden underworld information because we're truth seekers. And this charged sigil is giving us the power to go there. And ever since I've activated and do it, things have going because it's symbolism. And then once again, in the middle is the dot, which I just talked about, the Bindu and all this stuff, the color blue. The throat chakra, the color blue is for integrity and speaking the truth and all of that. This is why it is blue. And then the water sign is not just feminine, it's the water sign. So I got the sign for the water and the two fish to access the secret information that you see and that we talk about. So it's all designed. You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with that, right? So it's one of those things that you want to begin to understand the meanings. They got meanings of the donkey, the meaning of whatever. And once you learn to access those things, then it is a game changer when it comes to stuff that you want to really look at and truly understand the value of symbolism. And so I'm still trying to figure out, how do I teach it to you? How do I give you the stuff that I've learned and access to things that I have that you might want to know about? Because it's going to take me to be so rudimentary that I'll just come up and, okay, here's a couple of lines and dots and whatever. And it's boring. It's really boring to some of these people. It's really boring, and they don't really understand what is happening, and most people don't understand. But even the Baphomet is a symbol, and they created it. When they created the Baphomet, they created their own symbol to draw their own meaning and to draw people into who's interested in seeing it. And it was created from the goat. It was created from the wings. It has all these different things in it that goes down there. And so sometimes you may see a weird grasshopper. Okay. And I'm just going to read it right off the bat. I don't even know what it's going to say. I'm going to tell you. But the grasshopper or cricket is considered the symbolism of good luck in China and likewise in the Mediterranean countries, especially if it's seen in your house. How many of you stepped on and killed the grasshopper and wonder why the money didn't come? You're right, or whatever, or went and called exterminators because you got a bunch of grasshoppers outside and don't know you're probably going to have a windfall of good luck. And the gods are sending you messages and telling you that that things are getting ready to come for you, in a good way. And for the Greeks, it was sacred to Apollo. But otherwise, the grasshopper is seen as a symbol of death in other places in the resurrection, since it lay eggs in the earth. And with the newly hatched creature appearing out of the soil. So once again, it's those things that you want to look at and I think it's important, especially with what is going on today, that it's time for us to learn the symbols, whether it's the animals or just different stuff. And so I don't know how many of you be interested in things like that, or, like I said, I might have to put it on a whole nother channel because it doesn't interact with the keywords of this channel. And then the algorithm would get all kind of confused and I tried it in the beginning. If y'all remember, we was going down that route, but the response was just not there because I don't think people understand the power of learning symbolism and understanding what the true meaning of it is and why it's the most lethal thing that you need to learn to get around what's happening out here. And it's the most less thing, especially in some of these awake communities, that they may study that symbol of this. The Ankh means that, but we're talking going in depth where you understand and you can understand what is happening in all places and everywhere else. So it's very important. Everybody might say, "Oh, I know what the symbolism of a butterfly, or it means this," and they already know that. So the butterfly. Let me see if it's on here, or the moth. Oh, that's the moth. I already talked about that one in another book. Someone says, I recently saw a green fluorescent insect. It looked like a praying mantis. It started walking toward me while I was laying down. I jumped up, closed mouthed, and screamed. Well, and gave a closed mouth scream. And it could have been something else. You said it was a mantis. Let me go to, I have something right here. Let me see what that mantis meant. Maybe it was something that was meant for you. And let me see if it's in one of my books real quick here. And these are things that I think, people should know when it happens so that you understand that you might just be in a world of good things that is about to happen. Let me just see. And I think, like I said, a lot of people don't look at the meanings of the symbol. But okay, so I'm putting this on the screen right here. So Lawana says, I saw a green fluorescent. It looks like a mantis insect. Okay, so let's just pull up where we go. Okay, so right here, there is a green fluorescent in the symbolism book right there. Okay. And I'm going to just see if it has a meaning, and we can see what it means to you. Now, listen to this. It has a lot of different meanings. Seen as a magical, holy, or demonic, devouring, the prayer mantis attracts ambivalent symbolism, mean to martyrs. It comes from the Greek word prophet, associated with the mystical powers. And the Jaquan is the most popular samurai emblem of courage and cunning. And see, that could have been a message right there. And then had you probably looked at it long enough, it would have probably been telling you something good, that's there, and so it's just things that I think is you should know. So once again, it's something that you want to learn a lot of this stuff, and there's some great books out there. This one is a good book. The signs and now you've probably already seen in the Indian books, or they might say, "Oh, I saw a crow today." Hell, back in the Greek days, they would see a snake, a bird, an eagle grasping a snake, and they'll say it's a sign from Apollo, and Apollo saying we're going to have a good victory, or just wherever they would go with that. But then, like I said, it changes. The symbolism changes. And then it becomes a whole nother thing. And yeah, so those are things that dragonflies are a symbol if you see one, and ladybugs. Yeah. So I think it's time. And Judith said, Animal Speaking is a good book too. Okay. I don't know nothing about that book, but she got a dog that talks. So obviously she knows what she's talking about. If you ever call her, that dog will talk to you. You have to tell him, put Judith on the phone. He'd be like, or whatever. So, like I said, I'm trying to figure out how to make symbolism content for us, because it is important that it is time now. It is time, like I said, and it is an important time that symbolism is taught to people. Because of what's happening and the way you can begin to block things and begin to put yourself together. He says, I've been seeing a black and white agent symbol a lot lately. I have a book in there with a bunch of agent symbols. I would have brought it. I got all kind of books. And maybe, Polio, if you send me an email or something, I'll send you some symbols. And if it's one of them, I tell you the meanings of them. Because it is a whole world of secret meanings. And you got to remember that your ancestors and everyone else back hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they're not going to be speaking to you with words. Hey, walk over. They're going to send a symbol to your subconscious downloads. They're going to send stuff that the way they spoke and what you're supposed to be doing at that particular time. The book that I'm looking at right now, you can find it on eBay or the bookstore, but I will tell you eBay right now. Let me pull this off. Is the illustrated source book of symbols. This is the first best one that I said I have. And when I started going through it, it was just so deep of stuff. And if y'all could just see the pages and images and fauna and all of this stuff, it's just, the symbolism is just, it's incredible. And these are things that we just don't even look at, and we don't even understand what's happening every day. And you're talking about werewolf, you're talking about unicorns, you're talking about the siren, you can talk about the mermaids and the different type of things that goes through there. Birds, which are the divine communicators. Birds are your divine communicators. If you see birds talking to you, or in a wild, or you hearing their bird songs, It's for a reason. It's for a huge reason when you start seeing that, or you see a duck or simple stuff. One of the more unlikely symbols is a duck. It's an innocuous bird in association with the devil that was given to about the 13th century Pope, Gregory the Ninth. Gregory took it upon himself to preach a particular impassioned sermon in which he denounced the bird as a personification of a demon, Amadeus, who apparently appeared in his followers in the unlikely disguise of a duck and therefore caused all sorts of unholy goings. And like other migratory birds, appearance of a duck was the indicator to ancient men of the changing of the seasons, and therefore it was believed to have powers of prophecy. And the timing of birds laying eggs, hatching, etc., forecast the progression of the seasons. And furthermore, proof of the clairvoyance of a bird was to be had in its call. So the louder the quacking that was unusual, for example, presage of storms and all that. The duck is useful, is a useful ally and general benevolent creatures. It links with anything remotely demonic and apparitions. Because it is a water bird, is a link to Poseidon and Neptune. And in Egypt, where ducks were domesticated 5,000 years ago, it was associated with Isis and the sun god Ra. And the ducks taking off is the skims across the surface of the water into the air, effectively exchanging one element for another, symbolizes the journey of the soul into the next world. So y'all get where I'm going, right? So it is time for us to start learning these things, because it's going to bring your peace. It's going to give you, in this world of chaotic, in this world of the way they play all these games and things in the media, it's going to, the symbolism is going to give you a whole nother way to see this world. And Carol says, world things happen in the cats. Dr. Strange, I heard owls, but never seen. That is the true nature of that. Jacob saying, I would love to see an owl. They're so mysterious. You want to see a real owl? Okay. And then you can see the owl that we have. Okay. This is why I have the Luminous chain right here with the owl. It's the brand, it's our trademark, it's everything else, because Luminous is telling you that you're seeing in the dark. And it's the owl of truth. In fact, I'm gonna play a little video that I made so that you understand Luminous and why we have it. So I'll play it real quick. It's just a couple of seconds here.
Welcome, truth seeker. You are no longer asleep. I am Luminous, the owl of truth. The world is blind, but you have opened your eyes. Welcome to the fire of esoteric knowledge and truth. You are now one of the awakened. You are now luminous. Welcome to the rebellion. Welcome to truth versus authority.
So that is the mission of Luminous, the owl of truth. But it is illuminated. It's the symbol of the journey that I take on. The protection symbol is the protection, but the journey is luminous. And it is to take us on that journey to see beyond the unseen, the unknown, and take us in those areas. And that is something that it works. It's powerful. Of course, I have luminous gear. I have all those things, and it's a purpose on that. And I think that it is up to you to understand that the game that is out here is far beyond other stuff, and it is something that you want to begin to just really embed it into yourself. So, like I said before, if I can figure out how to give you that knowledge so that you understand and make it interesting to you. And like I said, we can do a show every time about different stuff. I can get out on the streets and do it. Maybe that is just the ideal I just got right there. Again, I was going to do symbols on buildings and stuff, but maybe we could do stuff that's out there in real time for you. So that may be a whole nother channel or just something else. But once again, I was given the dream of forming Symbolism Symposium. So I started working on the websites, and I trademarked the symbolizer, so I can become one of the people that's going to teach and do and everything else. And so I'm very excited to take you down those journeys. But like I said, again, it is something, I mean, from a tree to a nut to the stuff that we take for granted, but the first basic teaching. And then when I talked with Jen, we was going to start teaching you how to create your sigils. Brother Joseph, if you know him, it's going to teach you how to bring the magic into that stuff and all of these things. So you can get even, look, let me say this. Everybody don't have it, but the beard right here in the book of symbols, this is why back in the day, they used to wear fake beards. They didn't grow them like some of us, natural and in the color. But I'm going to read to you the symbolism of a beard, and let me read it to you. So this beard, this symbolism, is a symbolic of masculinity and strength and wisdom. And usually a beard belongs on an older man. And because it's assumed that with age comes experience and wisdom is part of the equation. So let me say this. You know how many people I've had, I may say something, or you meet a woman, and I'm going to use from my perspective only. And if you run into a woman that has one of these beards, okay, that's cool. That's your cup of tea. But you know how many times I run into a woman and I'm going to say something and they see the beard. The first thing they go, oh, that's an old man. They don't know what comes with that while they're messing with the younger man, which he's going to grow. You got dawn, day, and dusk. Okay. So you have dawn is the youngest, and then you got the day, which is in that mid-age, and that's right. Everybody's growing though, but at the end of the day, so a popular image of God as an old man is with a beard. The longer the beard, the wiser the owner was considered to be a philosopher, heroes, or kings, as well as masculine deities from all cultures, and are generally depicted with full beards in ancient Egypt. With certain queens were depicted with beards too. See, queens had beards too. So some of you women may be growing facial hair and you cutting it. It said ancient cultures, the queens had beards. And then and I'm not telling you to grow it out, that's totally up to you. But they're also saying which made them equals to some of the men. Limitations or imitation beards were the attributes of gods and pharaohs, and they took the form of long, slender, plaited, amuleted braids, which were attached to straps. That's why you saw back in the Egyptians, they started wearing the I forget what they call it, but it was fake, but they knew the power of the beards and everything else. And so I'm just giving you, now kissing the beard was a sign of reverence, and it's the same way that unruly hair is seen as a sign of disrespect for authority or even madness, and disheveled beard the same way. So there you go. Renee said, I prefer a bearded man. Ryan says, bah, he said, all right. Ryan says 39 with a scraggly setup. It's going to come, brother. It's coming. You know what I'm saying? It's coming. Beard is coming, and I'm just using it there. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I need to look that up. Mag says, was Cleopatra depicted with a beard? I don't know. Was she, y'all? Anybody? Cleopatra is a title, and it was dependent on which one. Lorenzo, I've had a beard since I was in the 6th grade. All right. See? Okay. Yeah. And speaking of everything too, today one of our members, TK, I don't know if she's in here tonight, but introduced me to her pastor or their organization, and man, there's some deep people when it comes down to the conscience. I spoke with them an hour or two, and we just hit it off, and I told her about our group meetups and everything else. And so we officially now have a beautiful place for every month for our meetups. It's going to be indoor, unless one of these months we want to be outside at the lake, which we are planning to do one of these months. but it's an indoor space. It's got they do their own gardening on the outside where you can learn the true names of the symbolism of the gardens. That's so powerful, as well as all this other stuff. So our next meet and greet date is August the 23rd, and we're going to be indoors. It's going to be nice, the couches and seats, and we're just going to talk and greet and have a good time and everything else. And so we're going to be there, and people will share their stories. It's not going to be lectures or anything like that. You'll be able to get some Luminous gear because I'll have my stuff there. And it's going to be, I want people to share their experiences. You might have somebody that got an experience and then they want to teach you something, or you learn from their experience. I'm not going to have people pounding on you, just putting knowledge down your throat because they're making their point when they can build and do. But the people that'll be around in our group because it's time that I got to create a place where people can talk when they cannot talk. And so I want you to understand that is the agenda. So if you hear me tap you on the back or, and not that we had that this weekend and we didn't have it at all, but I sense that we will potentially get people that will come that's going to use that as an opportunity to give you a worldview. And that's not going to happen on our watch. But I do want anybody who feel that you cannot tell somebody the most intimate experience that you have, whether it's a vision, whether it's whatever, that place, there will be no ridicule. There will be none of that. You're going to be able to, you had a dream 2 weeks ago. Come on, let's talk about it. Tell the group, let's tell it. Somebody in there may have the knowledge to help you, unjudgmental, right? Well, everybody's going to be judgmental, but not in an evasive way. I just want you to know. So we're going to do that. I never heard a thing about Cleopatra, so I really don't know. So once again, it is important that, and this is another book, you can find this one. It is really good. I think it kind of links to the one that I have right here too. And this is of secret signs and symbols. I have another book in there is about dream symbols. That is something that you want to learn, and pretty much I'm reading and learning about this three rabbit symbols. So it's something I think you to really do and stuff that we want you to know. The triple God, the trident, the trident is in some cases that people see the trident, they say, oh, it's the devil's pitchfork. But what they don't know, the trident or the trilucia is a long staff or pole topped with three prongs, and whoever wields it wields great power, although the power can take different forms. But the trident is there, and because of it's the symbol of authority because it's associated with water. But in some areas, they trained us in the communities to look at the trident as the devil's pitchfork so that we don't assume that power. But when they do it in secret societies, they know what the power of the trident is. They know. But I grew up in a church where it was the devil's pitchfork. Now I know that it was wrong. They were lying. They didn't want me to know the power of it. They didn't want me to pick up the pitchfork, and if it was wielded to me because I'm maybe a water sign or I possess the power of water or whatever, that I can get something from it. But these are the little things that they do when it comes down from that. And so I think it's something, and again, when I talked about the triple moon goddess, is the numerous symbolic representation, the notion of the triple aspect of the goddess, one of the most popular, arguably the most symbolic, eloquent, illustrated things right here. It shows the circle representing the full moon flanked by either side of the waxing and waning crescent moons. The symbol not only associate the goddess with her moon, but also show the change in nature of her three aspects as the mating, the mother, and the crone. In some cases, dawn, day, and dusk. And then the symbol is also the fashion independence and all of this. And people wearing some of this stuff, they don't even know. And it's just something nice, but they don't know definitely it's something what they would do. So if any of you have ideas to help me complete the beginning of the quest, how would I make this interesting for you? How would we put a picture of something on a screen and begin to break it down for you and how you can use it in your life? Would that be interested? Would you be interested in that? Or making it interesting, because it's the young people today that needs to understand this, and they see this, and what they don't pay attention to is when these celebrities or rappers, they all put symbolism in their videos, and as the video not only sending a message, but it evokes power upon the watcher, the person who's watching it, and you don't even know it, because symbolism pierces everything. Symbols will pierce the blind eye. It goes your subconscious mind, the frequency of it, it can see it. You don't have to say nothing. It evades everything. You can't block it. It's not made to be blocked. It's the internal language of everything. But as long as you can understand it, you can then protect yourself from some of the insidious meanings of some of these things. But it's gonna evade through. Ryan says, I'm sitting here crying to the male trifecta and still struggling. Is it real power in the tri-goddess, which is why we can't find that level? Interesting question. I'm sitting here trying or crying to the male trifecta and still struggling there. Is there real power in the tri-goddess, in which why we can't find the level? It is real power, but from some understanding, when you hear the maiden, the mother, and the crone, when you talk about the tri-goddess, it's the symbol that you want to understand. There's 3 cycles. It's made of the 3 crescents, of course, but when I started studying it, and when it came down for men, it came down to, as we are young men or young child, as thinking of it as a child, then we become men, and then we become wise. So it's the 3 sections of all of that thing. But either way, it does have even a deeper understanding. But this is how I started adapting it to my own life, to understand the triplement. But it is the feminine side of, again. So just look up, the understanding of her 3 aspects that shows the change in nature from maiden, mother to crone. And then you'll kind of gather some stuff there, because they also got that triqueta, which is something that will work with you from there. But they also had the Trinity, which was at the time the Son, the Holy Ghost, in the church. So it was the tripod of life. It took the same, they moved things around, and now you got 3 circles, but then they have 3 symbols in there too. So you can kind of look at those things and pretty much from there. I think at the end of the day, you can, like I tell everybody, it's worth noting that you want to do. So Cairo is saying the evolution of the tri-god is liberty, justice, and Colombia, the 3 ruling nations now. So again, the symbolism can go in a lot of places. And one of the things, if I can find it, will be the swastika, if I pronounce that right. And here's the interesting part of it. So I know it's in his book in the S. Let me go back and give you, even tarot card symbols is in here once we start talking about tarot cards and the symbolism of those, and how all of that works too. So let me see. So, all right. So let me read. Okay, so this right here, as y'all can see on the screen, is the swastika, if I pronounce that correct. And most of the people related to Hitler and the German rule and all of that. However, he harnessed the power of it and changed it for what he wants. For many people, the swastika has been rendered sinister since it's adopted by Adolf Hitler's Nazi regime. They believe mistakenly that it's a symbol of pure archon race. In fact, the swastika is a very old solar symbol going back to Neolithic times, revered in many cultures and found in many different forms, including being a sacred symbol in the sand paintings of the Navajo Indians. It's one of the few symbols that are almost universal meanings, significance, and distribution, and its spread extends through India, North America, Europe, Central, and everything else. America, and of course there. The name comes from Sanskrit word swasti, meaning well-being or so be it. And there is a theory that may have been invented by the basket weaver, since the swastika shape is produced during the weaving process. Now, here's the interesting part of the swastika. Examine the components of the elements of the swastika, which is elements of other symbols. That the first thing notice is that it's the shape of the four arms resemble the wheels. And like a wheel, the swastika can rotate in either direction like Hitler did. And officially, its arms are pointing in the clockwise, also or direction. And it symbolized the sun, the male principle of overt, if it is pointing counterclockwise, or the window sign. And then it resembles the moon, the feminine principle, if it's covert. So in this case, the swastika is sometimes called the Savasta or whatever. So I'm saying this to say that any of you, and it's time for us to learn these symbols so that we harness these things ourselves and begin to grasp those powers. And once you're able to grasp those powers, you're able to use those powers for yourself and to reach and become into the areas that you want to become to. And I think it's something that we will do. And yeah, Ada, he hijacked it. Yeah. And it's like I've always told some of you, just think of symbols as a superpower that was given to all of us. And it just so happens your best friend takes the superpower and go to the evil side, but they still got their God superpowers. And you take the powers and go to the other side, and now y'all are enemies fighting with powers. And so don't think just because somebody's using it. Now, I'm not saying the Baphomet is a created symbol. They took elements of different symbolism and created their own meaning, same as I created this particular sigil that I have on this hat. So that is symbolism, but it incorporates the meaning. So they're drawing off different symbolism to create the Baphomet when they did that. And so that is something that you could know and should know when things begin to go down. So when you think about the pyramid itself, then the pyramid consists of the triangle, which is one of the most strongest structures that they have ever made. And nevertheless, if we get into numbers, yantras, the Pythagorean theories, relationship between letters and numbers, all of this in the solar system, all of that goes back down to the symbolism. And then the symbol for the elements, body, earth, all of these things, the first 9 letters, the 9 numbers. The straight line is one of the simple basic symbols. A human being standing upright is a perfect representation of the number 1. And so all of these things are there. And like I said, they put it in front of us. And sometimes we just don't know it. What was really interesting, that I thought was interesting, was the symbol of the Mayans. And let me see if I can find why I want to tell y'all about that and why they use these things when they do it now. Yeah, let me find that real quickly for us. I think it's important to do it. The 5 was the symbol of the Mayans. And it had to mean, all right, so reason I'm saying that, because there's a symbolism that they show the 2 feet, the 2 baby feet that they make us or try to tell us to teach to imprint our kids when they're born. And then the hand, but it's got to do with, I think it goes all the way back to the 5 dots and the 5 and everything else. But I'm not going to get into that. That'll be a whole show for real to teach you the knowledge of that. But it's a reason why they do it at birth. And she said, what does the Baphomet symbol look like? You've seen it a lot of places. Let me see if I can Google it and put it on the screen. And yeah, Alice Crawley is the one who created it for the Church of Satan. And Beyonce wears the Baphomet on all of her stuff, and right in plain sight. And people don't know what it means and stuff and what she's representing. But I'm going to put it on the screen here. So, yeah, let me share the screen and then you'll see what I'm talking about from here. Window and a tab. All right, so there you go, right there. There's different. You've seen it a lot of places. You're seeing the Baphomet, and if you go and start looking at the meaning of what it means and everything else, so you can look it up, and it's out there in plain sight. It's in a lot of places that we see and people see that they don't pay attention to it. But the Baphomet has a lot of different symbols, from the breast showing, the star. Snoop Dogg wears some of that stuff. The devils, not devils, but the goat horn, the as above, so below, which you'll see one hand is up, one hand is down. You see the serpents in the middle of the Baphomet there, the wings, and so it has its own meaning. In fact, I could read it, the meaning, but now it could have a good meaning too, and we just associate it because the Church of Christ, now the Church of Satan, I'm saying, uses it, and so it makes us do it. But Beyonce, if you look at a lot of her stuff, there you go. The Baphomet is right there. Okay. All right, we got a new member for our members there. So y'all give a cool shout out to the mystic there. So let me. Yeah. Yeah. So he says the Baphomet kill all zombies. Said the Baphomet is a Babylonian symbol. So it's a Babylonian symbol. And like I said, it could have some meanings, but she damn sure make sure that she incorporated and put whatever it is out to in her music and people and in her poses. And I'm just putting that on the screen. So a lot of people just don't see those things, and pretty much, and maybe it doesn't matter or something. I'm not for sure. All of that. So yeah, a lot of stuff does connect to Freemasonry, and like I said, but some of that knowledge is good stuff though. Some of that knowledge is really good teaching and things that we could learn from. And so I'm under the assumption, and let me say this to you all. I'm now to a point when we start having some of these Saturdays get-togethers and we bring some knowledge and things that we want to share. My goal is we got to start taking some of these secret society knowledge. I ain't say rituals of some of the stuff they're doing to these people. You know what I'm saying? But we need to learn it, use it, apply it, teach it to our children in the best ways possible so they understand this new world that is being bestowed upon them right in your plain sight. Because it is the parents who is failing and not giving them the proper tools other than you think, the education of school. And when they're not playing by school rules, the elite's not playing by the educational system the Rothschilds put together so that they teach us what we need to know. And it ain't learning, it's memory. People don't even understand it. The whole system is based on memory. Spelling bees and remember these words and this, not esoteric knowledge, not understanding the life of knowledge of symbols, because we don't teach them that and everything else. So I wouldn't say Baphomet is a fallen angel. It's a symbol that was created with a meaning, so but someone else can better understand that and teach that, some stuff I don't know. That's why I grow us to grow together and everything else. As of right now, my prejudice is that I stay away from it, but through the associations that it has for now, until you learn something else and you just kind of grow from there. So again, it is the ideas that you could look at it and see. Now, of course, breast. We just talk about the word breast for women. Clearly, breast is the symbol of motherhood. They said feminine principle of comfort, nourishment, and abundance. It also is the symbol of beauty and fertility, and that the breast is the first point of contact for a newborn baby as it suckles its first milk. Hence, the primary nature of the breast is a symbol. The Egyptians believed that the breast is a symbol, and the Egyptians believed that it's the stars of the Milky Way were milk spilling from the breast of the moon goddess, who was the source of all other stars. In the right breast, it said the right breast over there, over here, you got two, is said to represent the sun, and the left is to represent the moon. So jokingly saying, the next woman I have, I'm gonna be like, hey baby, let me look at those breasts. And she's gonna be like, well, why you want to look at my breasts? No, I just want the represent of the moon and the sun in my hands. Maybe you talk that kind of love language someday, right? We go to the symbolism of things, and it begins to make sense. And she said, well, here, baby, here, go ahead, get you not only mother's milk and passion, but here, grab the sun, grab the moon, it's all yours. Wouldn't you want that? You know what I'm saying? You turn around and be like, hey, come and grab the moon and the sun today, baby. That's some sexy conversation probably, right? I'm just giving you conversation, right? Because it's the true meaning, and it's not look as apprehensible, or you're being some type of pervert or something. And everything else. Dr. Straight's about freaky wisdom wizards and stuff. The universe themselves is breasts. So, like I said, why wouldn't we? Now, I'm not going to talk about the boy. It has a whole meaning. It's got the symbolism of the clitoris. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's worth noting that it is a controversial operation, but they're talking about having something, whatever. But anyway, we're going to skip this on that part. But I just want you to know it's got some symbolism in it. It's got symbolism. And of course, we got the Kundalini. We have, and it's worth noting to learn these things, to learn it and everything else. And so I think it's worth us knowing. She said, I told my king to call me goddess. And he said, ooh, that's new. All right, well, just tell me you coming into your own and everything else, and you can do that, but anyway, so you have all of these things. And like I said, if it's something that we should venture down, I got to get the temperature of the audience to know, should we do these things and how powerful the thing. And like I said, my visions tells me, the vision of the future tells me of learning and knowledge that it's going to be essential. And, we need to study it in such a way. Somebody talk about, let's play some Barney and White. Okay, so he's saying Frankist occultist Levi created the modern image of the Baphomet in 1854 in France, and then Aleister Crowley adopted it later. Okay, so there you go. So like I said, a lot of people do that stuff. And you got to understand what is happening between those things. So again, I will hope that we could understand the stuff. So when you talk about the holly tree, the symbolism when it's Christmas, and a lot of people don't know, they just put it up. But they have no clue, that there's a lot of hidden meanings that they got us doing that we don't know what the meaning is, and everything else. And so those are things. There's a lot of hidden symbols and logos, the kiss and the double lightning, the meaning of that, the stuff that's out there. And so once we begin to learn those things, it's something that we could get to grow with. So how many of you would think about the learning just symbolism, not the symbolism that we're going to see every day that people are talking about in the movie Sinners and stuff like that. I'm talking stuff that's right in your face, things that your ancestors or your higher selves is sending you messages that you do not get. You don't respond to it because you don't even know that they're operating in the conscious world and sending that insect by you at a time that you're sitting here wondering, I need an answer, or I need to get this prayer, or I need to do this. And then your higher self or most high sends you the symbol to say, I hear you, do this. But because you are inadequate in symbolism, because nobody wants to teach that, it's the most greatest of it all of esoteric knowledge. It's more than just knowing there's a God in you. You know, I'm saying because it all works together. I'm saying that is an important concept part, though. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it is something worth knowing to do. And I've been grappling with how to give it to you that it'll be interesting. Renee said, I need to know everything. So, but what happens when you're doing this on YouTube, until you build a big audience, and by the way, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I'm wanting to celebrate us hitting 25,000 subscribers. We're 25 people away from hitting 25,000 subscribers here on this channel. If any of you is sitting here listening and you have not subscribed, please do the honor and subscribe so that we can hit 25,000 subscribers. And I remember we had 1,000. I remember we had 100. I remember we had 10,000, and now 25,000. And of course, we lose subscribers all the time, but we gain. We're already going forward, though. And once again, I would love for you, if you have not, give an opportunity and subscribe to this channel and hit those alerts too, right? And so our next feed will be 50,000, then 75, and we're going to accelerate that, and then we're going to hit 100,000 and get the plaque. And we're going to do it and really do this. So, is there anything in particular that you think you would want to use and learn the elements of water, fire, wood, metal, the number of it? So the element water has the number one, salt, rain, and all of these, the animals, and it's just basic elements. Even the Chinese been using symbolism and stuff for a long time. Renee Sal joined. Yes, I admit that our private YouTube area, or the uncensored, I have slacked on it over the last 3 weeks on purpose. So tomorrow we have a guest tomorrow. So let me make sure I let y'all know who's coming tomorrow. And let me put it in here for you. Hang on. And talk about the person who's going to be here with us tomorrow, live here at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, so that you know. Let me pull up the information here. And then we could, his name is Randy Goodwin. Okay. And a little information, you can go to his profile, but he also, we're going to talk about, the ritual SA survivals and how it started. We're going to talk about how some people can deliver from. We're going to go into the Disney stuff, and then he's going to come in our private area next Thursday or the week after, and he's going to tell you some stuff that you're just not going to be ready to hear. And so I've been working on speakers because I want to raise the value of, even though we was going to do a lot of uncensored videos, and I'll still just upload stuff. So I'm going to make that the most valuable place outside of here on one side that we can say that YouTube, thanks for the super sticker, that we can say, and it's going to be like a mini seminar every week with some of the most prolific speakers. And the more people we have, give us the more donuts to offer them to come, because some of them, I'm going to give them love offerings. And we're going to be doing that. And everybody that I vet, that I put in front of you, is going to be people, foes of the community. They're going to be down with the community, and they're going to be good people that I feel that that you should learn whatever it is that they're learning. And then the videos will be archived, so people who are coming in late or later can go back and watch it. I just got to figure out how we can put, because Patreon is a feed-like system, and so we'll get into that. And so I just want you to know that that's where we are. And if you have not gotten, now my plans are in the next week is to stop allowing members so that I get everything going and then build up the point where people are going to want to be there. And then we open it up maybe once a month and say, okay, new members welcome or whatever. And until we build this where we're trying to go, but the people is already in there. You already know there's some incredible stuff there. And pretty much, I talked to you guys about getting the copies of the files. This past weekend we did talk a little bit about Epstein and other stuff, but some of the symbolism things that we're going to talk about, especially with Jordan Maxwell, that I'm going to teach is stuff that we can do here too. And it helps us fund a lot of things that we're going to be doing and everything else. So any of you who don't stay in Dallas, I'm going to start giving you the schedules maybe 2-3 months in advance of our meet and greets and maybe the area that we're going to be. So you may plan to come down. Like our godmother, Diana, she drove hours to get there to us Saturday and stuff. So those are things that we're going to do. And so I don't know, I haven't talked to her, but I think me and her are going to do some lunch tomorrow. And I'll take a couple of pictures with our godmother and stuff. But before she goes back out of town, I think I have to call her when we get through. And if she's in here, put it in the chat. I think we're going to do some lunch or something tomorrow. So, but anyway, it is important for us to do that. So if you guys give me the go ahead but I got to figure it out. And if you got ideas, of what we can do, and once again, there are flowers of the underworld. And these are things that nobody teaches and everything else. Okay, so she is here. So after this, I'll call you when we get off the live and whatever we're supposed to do tomorrow or whenever. Even the eyes of a cat. Some of y'all got cats. There's a lot of symbolism in the eyes of the cat. And any stone, we're talking about a cat eye here, has occlusion within the causes the light to retract in a way, refract the same way as the eye of a cat, and it can be given the title. The actual name to the process is called shadowviancy or whatever. So the true cat's eye, however, it's a stone out there that they call cryosberyl, and I'm butchering it up, which is the cat eye. So there is a stone called the cat eye. We need to get one, somebody, which is comprised of fibers running in the same direction that reflect light in the manner described. Okay, we need to look that up. We need to get a necklace with the Judith with the cat eye, but it has a meaning. We'll wait first. We will wait before we do that. By all means necessary. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait on that one and not violate those things. All right. So once again, we're 22 people away from hitting 25,000. Hopefully by tomorrow we get some new people, to subscribe to the channel and everything else. It's been a dream to watch it grow, watch our stuff grow. And she said, I've never been to Texas, but will come to hang out with the Truth versus Authority family. All right. So make sure if you come to Texas, hang out. And if anybody who comes from out of town and hang out, like last time we went out, we did a dinner. We all just went out to dinner. Some of us that hung around, we just make a day. We're going to make a day out of it. Right. Or just whatever, after the main, meet and greets and stuff, but we're going to build it up, and then eventually, sadly to say, the place only holds, maybe 75, 80, maybe less, depends on how we do it over time. And if we want a bigger venue, they have access across the street. But, then I'm gonna have to just do RSVP, and people ain't gonna be able to get in if they're not in the list or the invite or whatever, because it's gonna be a sacred thing that we do and just have a great time. And like I said, it's not a thing. She said, I have some car eye stones of a car, and I'll send you a picture tomorrow. Now if that had been me, y'all would have said whatever, but I know she meant cat eye stones, but she put car. So we're gonna laugh. Ha ha ha! She put car. Roderick put car eyes instead of cat eyes, and blah blah blah. But because I know the greatness of Judy, I know what she meant, right? But Ada said I have a few. All right, so I need to check that out though. Howdy, howdy! I love your show. Thank you, Lizzie. We're gonna get better, man. We're going to get better, better, better. And I'm gonna give y'all something we never seen before. I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm getting more comfortable. I had a lot of things in the backdrops that a lot of you, some knew, not know, but these things starting to fan out. You know, everything is starting to bring itself in place, and then the synergy of what we're doing, building the group and the team of what we're doing, it is just it's just incredible. And so I want you to do that. Lizzie Lou says, you're so cool. Well, thank you. You're cool too. Hello, Roderick. I came across you on Forbidden Knowledge. Love your content. Thank you for being light in the dark. Thank you for coming over. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel. And we're trying to reach our 25,000 subscribers. And we have just a few left. We need 22 people. 22 people. She said, I shouldn't have forgot about my other one. He looks like a white tan tiger. And what is funny that he's saying car instead of cat is a trend on social media. Really? Car and cat is a trend? All right. We'll go there. But Judah said she meant cat eye. So let me put it on the screen. Now let me put her thing on the screen to make her whole right there. Cat eye. But I get it. I get why she said car. I just want you to know. I get why she said car, because she got a dog. He gets jealous. And if she said I got car, and she said it out loud that I got cat eyes, he'd be like, arr. So I get it. He said, Rod is officially trending. Now, how am I trending? Tell me, Ryan, because I would love to know. Tell me, how am I trending? I would love to know. Who remember cat marbles? Well, I have tiger eye crystals here on this protection mala. So it's cat eyes. Roderick, I did send for the hat with the owl. I did not. No, you did not. Let me tell you how I know you didn't send. Wide Open Podcast, which is Rob, is one of my buddies. He's spitting knowledge and everything else. And he has a podcast, and eventually we're going to do stuff here and then go and help him build his too. And he was going to order a hat. And he was going to order a hat and a chain at the time that we were down to our last pennies and nickels as a community. I'm just making this up, but it's going to be a good story for him. And he said, Roderick, I'm going to get this hat and stuff. And I said, okay. So I called the president and I said, Mr. President, I'll have the $60 or $47 because my friend Rob is going to get a hat and a chain. And the president was like, ain't nobody want that. They don't want to be Luminous. They're not going to get a hat. And I said, I can count on my buddies because it's Rob we're talking about. We're not just talking about anybody. He's Wide Open Podcast, Wide Open Shut. I mean, when he says it, he says it. And no, I'm sorry, Wide Open Wake Podcast. So I was like, oh, hey, this is Rob. Rob got me. He's going to do it. And so I had to call the president back and tell him that I couldn't, do it. I said, because Rob didn't get his hat and whatever. Now, that was a made up story, but it at least he's going to order his hat. He was like, oh, bro, I got you, man. Quit putting the story up. It's just a story. But anyway, I appreciate you, brother. Whenever. Yeah, hit the like button. Cat and car word. Oh, really? It's trending. All right. Cat and car word. Okay, we'll look into that. We're gonna look into that. As y'all know, I had dental surgery yesterday. So, man, I have some stuff in here, but it is cool. From there. So, with that being said, though, what do y'all think, though? How, stuff that we would need in the future. Okay, so I need y'all help for now before we get out of here later. I want you to think about things that we can do as a community, knowledge, So symbolism is something I want to become and do. And if we start bringing other people into this community to teach and say whatever, what other thoughts that y'all think? But you might have other channels that you go to certain things. Now, truth versus thought is where it is. But if I do a thing about symbolism, it's got to be a whole nother channel because YouTube's algorithm is not going to push and mix those things unless it's incredibly a commitment from people watching it and liking it and commenting and taking us down the road. And thank you if you just subscribe to us and you hear we're 20 more people for hitting 25,000 people, and that's just a blessing all across the board. So we want to made to order our content and knowledge and things that we should learn. But if we, like I say, we go down a symbolism route, it's going to go forever. It's going to go forever. And I'm saying that to you and everything else. So last but not least, and we're going to continue talking. But remember I told y'all about the knowledge that we have. I gave y'all the information here. This is the most potent thing on that with 20,000 books, ebooks, 20,000 audio files, and also 3,500 videos. Dr. Strange is getting ready to get his copy, and he might not even come back. He's going to get so into this and learn so much, he'll come back. But the whole point I'm saying is this is the sugar honey iced tea. I am now to a point where I'm going to go dark with this. I try to give people, it is, an investment. Just this thing alone is $160. And the reason I recommend this one particularly because not only the person, but it's shielded so that when they do EMP stuff, it's not going to blow this thing out. And it happens. They try to wipe your drives or whatever. It's waterproof or water resistant at some point at a certain level. No moving parts. Its SSD is super fast, and it's those things to really understand this. There's a couple of you that is getting this and a couple of you in here who has it. And I want to tell you, you have the power to change not only your personal life with any journey, but also if you decide to become a true speaker, like Rob is doing his podcast, then you will do that. And I just wanted to say that I thank all of you who've reached out and made the investment into yourself and anything else. And so I'll probably be accepting some more email or one or two, maybe, but it is going to go dark because I've gotten a lot of visions that I should not be giving this to certain things and people, because some people is not going to handle this well. And some people are going to handle it well. Some people is going to grow a bigger ego than they have. Some people is going to be incredibly, maybe uncontrollable because they're now going to have stuff and information, things that was out there they pulled from public. Whoever harnessed this, and I can't tell you who it was, but they did a great job in that. And so all I can say is it's been the greatest blessing. And when I continue to teach, and you may say, where'd that come from? Just know that we have the power and we have access to something that a lot of people don't have. And with the people who have access to it, we all have the notion that when you do take time to find stuff, because some stuff you might seen and know, and then there's something you're going to pop on and you're going to be like, I didn't know that. And it's just there. Somebody may have spoke on it. Somebody may have wrote something, paperwork, Bohemian file, old pictures and stuff that just you don't even know. But I do tell them that when you find something, call me, and then I can call everybody else. Hey, man, go look at this and go look at that and everything else. And so, yeah, Wide Open is telling you is information from your wildest dreams. And I brought this Saturday, and we didn't get to go through it thoroughly, but I may bring this on our meetups or a copy of it and just talk about it. But, this is you need 2 terabytes. I'm working on someone's now which I thought it'd be a lot faster, but it's not as fast as it is. So it's taking forever to transfer the files. But just know that I, you know, I'm just telling you pretty much. So, and timing is everything. I think it's important to know, but I'm going to, it's no longer for me to talk about it and put it out there and hoping that, people would do it. It's just not. And so if you heard it tonight, you heard it, then you heard it before you're supposed to, to do it, and everything else. And so, yeah, NASA for dark magic and stuff, NASA and all is involved in our stuff. Well, it's not going to matter of the braveness, but it's getting ready to disappear out of sight and mind because it's no longer to do it. It helped doing a couple of things. I'm almost about to be where I was when I got it. So it allowed, and so I was just trying to make sure that I can come back whole with, stuff and do it, but we're almost there of that. And then, so that was just the only mission of that and everything else. But once again, the email contact@whythebigsecret.com is my email address. And just already know before we even begin the process, that particular drive that you will ship to me. And like I said, I am working on one in particular that didn't, send it as different, but it's working, but it is taking incredible. And I hope that the drive will hold. Well, now it's going to hold all the information. We talked yesterday. I meant to get it out today, but it's going to be tomorrow if you're watching. But the drive is definitely, it'll slow some things down for you. Even though it is a SSD, it's just still, there's some other mechanics and things about it and everything else. And so I just want you all to know that where we're going with that. Having said that, he said, the new goal is set. I have too many things escape from the tides of time. Tina, let me see what she says here. So yo saying that remote view determine what, are we saying it? That remote view. Now y'all know that I got grammar and I'll be doing my grammar stuff. And then Tina, if you type it and then I start reading, they're gonna think it's me. But I'm reading what she said. So y'all saying that y'all remote view to determine whether or not potential truth seekers can handle the truth. This is being asked out of junior. No, who said we remote view? No, it's a decision. Well, I don't know. Let me make sure I understand what you mean, Tina. So can you kind of type that a little bit so I can understand? Or if anybody understand the question, she said, so y'all or you, is it me, remote viewed, who remote viewed to determine whether or not potential truth seekers can handle the truth. So if I'm thinking what you're saying is when I say there's stuff in here, so let me give you my personal assessment and hopefully I'm answering it right, my friend, and then we can go there. I now have gathered enough information that I do understand why there are, even in the wisest of forms, there are things that should not be revealed to the allotment of people. And I'm using the word people, Tina, because a person, which could be you or one or two, or a person on a journey can handle information. People is very difficult and some people are not. Just as the symbols and things, there's things in this stuff that could be used in a harmful way at some point or whatever. But I do think there's things that if people mental or psychic is not there yet and they see the truth, then cognitive dissonance, y'all remember the word, becomes a key factor in the growth of this particular person and everything else. And so we have to look at those things and permit and pretty much to understand that. So I hope, that I'm answering, and when I say things is not particular or whatever, because the worst part is somebody might want access and today they may not financially be ready to do so. That's not what I meant there. I know that I was taking a challenge of sharing certain things in here that may rock or rattle someone, or someone may put something out that can be harmful or not in the best interest of our community or people who are listening to them. So that's all that I'm seeing. I don't have the ability. I know I'm learning remote viewing, but I don't have the ability to go in somebody's cautious or mindset and determine what they don't and can have. I'm just saying that I have come to the notion, for me personally. Oh, you didn't. It wasn't held against you. Just asking that brother. Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, I knew I wasn't taking it negative. I just didn't. I just wanted to understand if you were asking the question, pretty much from there. And I need to get better at that, Tina, because a lot of y'all have conversations with each other, and you got to remember it scrolls all the way up, and I don't see it, and then I'll read something and think like, "Huh? What's the question?" So anyway, Lizzie says, Roderick, to grow with you must land. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go there. And I told my friend that we're living 300 years ago and we're to burn alive. So hey, tell them whatever. They just need to know. Is it a plug-in drive? Yeah, it's a plug-in drive. It has a USB 3. Yeah, so that's how it transferred. So there's a plug. So it plugs in right here. Plug into your iPad, computer, phone, the drive itself. So it is a USB 3 plug-in. Lorenzo, I feel the same way. What do you feel? I think I already put his stuff up there, right? No? He said, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Some of y'all the same way and feeling the same way. Yeah, so it's interesting. Lizzie said, the universe send me the dollars to get that drive. Claim it. Call it. You never know. And Cairo says, oh no, Renee said, I can handle the truth. And you know what, the movie, this is not for you, but it's like, you want
the truth, you can't handle the truth.
I like that clip. I got a lot of clips on.
Because you can't handle the truth. Yeah. You can't handle the truth.
So I got all my little clips to that, and it's not for any of y'all, but that's just my clips that I keep, and pretty much when it comes down to this, but it's an interesting thing that truth is truth. Yes, it is, and it's something that we would know. He said, "Oh, Ada, we here and we are all about it. Truth is all. Don is fun to explore. Yes, it is. Yeah, so I think it is something that is pretty interesting and pretty much from there. So like I said, I'm excited for our journeys and things that we're going to be doing and everything else. And so, like I said, we have a little part of that. But like I said, if you heard this message and you heard it today, and it's something that you decide that you want to get access to, then you email contact@whythebigsecret.com. Is the email address. And let me put it on the screen and everything else. Also, we are a community funded show. And since Rob, my boy Rob, did not order his hat and shirt, then or his chain or whatever, then I have to put up on the screen, anybody want to donate to the show and all that stuff. And because he had done it, I wouldn't have done it. I would then took the money he would have gave me for the hat, and I would have bought crypto, would have turned into $100,000 investment. It's just a lot didn't happen because he didn't buy the hat, right? So now we got to put anyway. It's on the screen there. You can't tell people certain things, and it's true, but it does offend people when there's monetary stuff attached to it. That some people think, well, I just don't, I don't, and they come at you, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you all had children, or if you haven't had children, or you've been a child, or that depending on the mind of the child. And although there's a lot of people who teach their kids or talk to them like freaking adults, and when they get into a relationship problem with their man or husband or wife and boyfriend, and they tell the 9-year-old about life, and the 9-year-old say, yeah, I understand, and you believe that, and you walk away believing that your 9-year-old will understand a complex relationship argument that you and your 40 or 30 or 20-year-old husband just had, and what you had to go through for 13 years of dating, becoming a virgin and all this stuff. And then you think that 9-year-old understands because he says, I understand. And then you think his life is normal because he understands. That's handling truth is what I'm talking about, or whatever. Sometimes the mind, we're just not ready for the truth, and we think we are. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That is the whole game of it all, when it comes from that. Someone says, hey, Roderick, I got some crazy screenshots from a video I recorded in a lightning storm. I'm also a truck driver, and I've been experiencing a lot of extraterrestrial phenomena, as well as trying to show you. But I think you emailed and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And all right. And Lizzie said, if we have handled BS this right now, then give me the truth. I'm with you. So, I mean, I don't hold back telling y'all the truth. I don't hold back telling you the truth of whatever I discuss. But when I see something that is mind-boggling, twisting, and that was the whole reason to create the uncensored area. And I had a lot of more speakers and stuff. We just don't have enough members yet to use that as a purse to go out and get the uncensored stuff that we need. And I thought by now we would. It's growing though, by far. But at one point, 20 or 30 more people, we were set and we would create something incredible and everything else. And so I'm gonna have to bag up and make it valuable and bring people into our uncensored area and everything else. He said, yes, Roderick, that's why nothing surprises me anymore. Yeah. And so I think it's one of those things that we could do. We're 15 people away from hitting our 25,000. I'm not saying we're trying to stay here to do that, but boy, it would be beautiful while being here, we hit 25,000. And so if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do. And I'm not telling you go get your other email address and give me an extra sub. I'm just saying, please do. So we can do that. Raising is a term that means tearing a foundation to the ground with the intentions of rebuilding. All right. And I get it. Lewis says, can put the email on the screen. Yes. Let me put it on the screen here for you. Hang on one second. I think I have a banner to do that. Let me put it on the screen and just let me put it on the screen. The email is contact@whybigSecret.com. It's not going to scroll, but it's going to go. And all right, so there's the email right there on the screen. And Kenyatta says he is so sarcastically hilarious. Someone told me that I was sarcastic, and I was like, oh, I have to watch my delivery. And they was like, yeah, you need to watch your delivery and stuff. And but thank you, Kenyatta. Just Jay said, thank you so much for organizing Dallas. Yeah, and so the next one in Dallas is August the 23rd. It's going to be an indoor, and that's going to be our location for the futures until we grow or whatever. So we're going to be indoors, and I'll start putting the location address and stuff. We're going to have a great time, cool. The place got this little garden of oh my God. It's just a nice little get together. The Zen is there. The energy is there. Like I said, we're going to be talking, and then it's got Wi-Fi. So I'm going to figure out a way to start to set up the live stream while we're there. And that way, people can just watch. And it's just to be a live stream. And I got to figure out a way for mics. And then you can just, hear conversations, the screen will switch. And you might just hear two people over there talking, some people talking in some cases. And then sometime we may shut it down if we know it's something that I don't want to be out there. And pretty much, or maybe we just got to tape it and put it somewhere and whatever. But there will be times things that I want you all to do pretty much. But yes, so I had a great time of us putting those things together. But we're gonna, like I said, I made a few not things that I wasn't, I should have put up a sign for people driving by, because I started getting emails of people who couldn't find us. So we would probably had a bigger turnout maybe. And so I'm learning now, but now with a physical address, we don't have to have a sign, right? With physical address, you just come to the address. You know where we are. So that'll depict that and everything else. And pretty much, she said, I'm there with bells and whistles, as they say, and more time and more on time. Cool. All right. Yeah. So it's going to be great. It's going to, and like I say, it's going to give people a place to share. Like I said, I'm going to make sure without intentions that it ain't going to turn out where, you come in there and hear speakers and all that. Is not what that is. Now you might hear me talk maybe more, but you're going to hear stories, experiences, mingle, meet somebody, exchange numbers. And then now you got this structure that you may not have family and friends that you can talk to, but you're going to have a new friend. I told some people who were so happy that they were there. I said, welcome home, because that is so necessary. In fact, I had a great time because I'm here all the time. And sometime on the weekend, I'm not doing anything. Now, even we don't have a meet and greet. I got enough people on the phone call, hey, y'all, let's meet at Dave and Buster's. Let's just meet at Dave and Buster's. I got to feel, y'all want to go bowling this week or something outside of our meet and greet, right? So it's to develop those relationships and everything else. She said, I was late, but better late than that. What time did you get there? You came about what? Yeah. Do you meet and greet? We will probably move into the Midwest and everything else. But, after the meet and greet, I don't know what time you left, Just Joy, but then 5 or 6 of us went over to the location, and TK took us over there to see the future location. And like I said, as of today, we came into agreement with the administrators there that, hey, we can do what we're doing. Okay, about 1. Yeah. So I'll do that. I do enjoy the podcast and stuff. All right, let me put back up the email. So this is just for those of you who's going to email. You want, and before you email, like I said, the drive alone, if you're doing that, is you have it and sent to me would be one thing, and do that. How was your show? Oh, let me text back. I'm on live now. Yeah, so anyway, for those of you, in that information or whatever, pretty much. She said, please try not to use all caps. Oh yeah, in your messaging. Yeah. It's hard to y'all must see stuff I don't see, but y'all get it. Vegas. Oh, Kiana. She says, nothing. I like it. Nothing wrong with being sarcastic if there isn't any ill intent. It's a joke. Oh, gotcha. No, it's cool. I appreciate you. Yeah. So when you type, just if you type in all caps, it's kind of hard and blurry, but it does give like a real strong thing. So I do tell people, usually when somebody's coming at me, they'll put caps and stuff. But I get it. I know that wasn't you, Kiana, anyway, doing that. But that's probably why you see one of the mods or say, don't use all caps and everything else. So, just that it's all okay. The best you can. But anyway, I know who you are, so I don't take it in an intrusive way. But there are some people that'll come in and cap it, high capping. Whoa, that's a word. We just used that. Yeah, they come in high capping and doing it. So, all right. So with that being said, is there anything in particular that we can talk before we go? We're going to be here tomorrow. I got a guest. Make sure y'all come, show him some love. He's going to be talking about SRA rituals, sex rituals and stuff. And so he's going to talk about it and share his how he's helped people, and he's going to teach people, or not share, but share information. We're going to have a conversation about it. And I thought it was something really cool. And then me and him will talk about some stuff in our Uncensored area next Thursday. So he'll be the guest. And then I got 4 guests lined up after that. And then we will do that. Billy will probably be coming to Dallas. Me and him talked about a couple other stuff. So it's not going to be a event that we're going to be trying to put out there. But those of you who come to the Saturday stuff, when we do it, and you'll know where we're going to be and when he comes in. And so because it's not something he's trying to promote like we're doing an event. So, sorry, he mentioned that, but we are going to do an event that he's coming, but he's coming in for some business. And so one of those places, I'll tell y'all where we're going to be. And then y'all could, come check it out and pretty much from there. Yeah, just joy. The energy with everyone there was amazing. This Cairo said would probably be a good idea if your audience scout a zip code for a location that could meet cool parks and facility. You're talking about different places? Yeah, we'll put something together and do that, or some of y'all can initiate it and pretty much. But, the first part was just to build a home base area, get some local people to help out with some of the ideas and things that we're going to have. And then we can kind of do that. She said, Don says, yeah, it was good seeing you there. I watched you and the stories that the women told me on the edge of my seat. It was so interesting. Definitely looked like a great day. We had a great time, man. And it was just our first turnout. And I can't imagine over time how far we go and where we're going. It was really a true blessing for me as well. Something I've always wanted to do, and just to see the lives that you touch and see the people that we communicate with and talk to and everything else. So it was just a real big deal. And so I think but to make it interesting, we will continue to move down those things and everything else and do that. So they're passing message around. She said, "Oh my God, it was so amazing. I was basking in the memory. I keep sending light whenever we cross the beautiful mind." There you go. So, and what I plan on doing eventually is, and next time I'll have a table, bring some of our gear and Truth versus Authority shirts and reptilian shirts and different stuff. So for now on, to be more organized of what I'm doing because the venue is going to cost, and I have no plans of saying it's costing anybody at the door. Maybe somebody want to donate or whatever. But, through gear and other means, we will take care of it. And I just want you to show up. I don't want you to worry about a dollar or a penny or anything. I just want you to show up when you can't talk to somebody about that dream or that experience or that download, or you want some answers and you want like-minded people with you. I want to eliminate all your excuses. So that you don't have to worry about you going to do this alone, and you're alone because you got friends now, and you got real friends, intelligent friends, and some cool friends that will be really cool to do. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to get ready for tomorrow. Like I said, I love you guys. I want to just make sure I come on tonight. I think about all of y'all being here too. Everything else and coming. How about a weekend somewhere like a knowledgeable working vacation? We can do all of that. Once I gather the symbolism stuff that I'm working on to do, then that is where I'm going to land a plane to become one of the very best out there teaching the esoteric knowledge of the most simple symbols that people just ignore and stuff. And that is my dedication. And to become and to do. And so we're working toward all of that, and to move around and do things, and then have little vacations, have some stuff. We're going to do everything that we need to do. The greatness of Kiana says, Diana, my apologies, only texting Cass because it's easier for me to read. I'm at work, and so I have to miss you. Oh, you good. But I'm the one reading this stuff. But it's the godmother, she does monitor the waves and all that stuff. But that's all right. So, but no apologies, but thank you for apologizing, but no apologies needed. Okay. It's all good and everything else. The greatest of the greatest. And pretty much from there. So we're good. All right, Lizzie, Renee, let's get to the party started quickly. See it off. All right. All right. So we're going to do it. All right. So with that being said, anytime y'all got any requests, this is our community, send me an email. And then some of the stuff we can read out loud, we can say, hey, we're going to be doing this because we're getting ready to evolve. We're going to be one of the best one out here. But we need to get more people to come. We got to get more views and stuff so that YouTube pays us to do better. And we're 13 people. Number 13 is not a bad number, away from 25,000. So by the time I wake up tomorrow morning, we will be 25,000 strong, I'm sure. And I will just tell each one of you, I love you. Every one of you who subscribe is part of that 25,000 subscribers. Because without you, it will be one less number that we have. And that, people, I'm telling you, is a great gift from where we are. So good night, y'all. And we will see each other tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We got a guest. Be kind, come and support, ask questions in the chat, but really, please be kind. All right.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs. A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Look at